Hey folks, this is Wayne over at the Ram Man Inc. It's on Sunday. Oh hell, I guess it is 1:30. So, I'm getting ready to bench bleed this master cylinder. This is going on a Hemi unit. It's a Hemi clone master cylinder. This master cylinder casting 222-6811 came out in 67, 68 on the Imperials and C bodies. It has that rounded flush front like a real Hemi 9191. This is a real NOS Hemi, one of mine. It's been sleeved and machined right here. So, we've got it all filled up with fluid. Got the original style brake lines on here, because I'm testing for maximum performance when you use those plastic ones or the other ones. You can see the flow and everything, but on the return stroke, sometimes you can get the air suction going on. So, I use the originals. And of course, bench bleeding master cylinder is really important. Number one, you get all the air out of it. And number two, you get a visual that the thing is working correctly. I've already worked the oxygen out of this one. This is one of ours, just redone. So let's check the fluid flow in the front to the brake drums. You see that beautiful stream? That means you know, and you've proved it to yourself, that the damn thing's working. You see those streams? There you go. And I had some clown one time. Nobody ever reads their manual. If you read your manual, they'll talk about the geyser in the front chamber. That tells you that the residual pressure valve behind that seat for the drum brakes is working. Some clown got on forums, oh, that means master cylinder's bad. No. If you ain't got the geyser, you got a problem. That also tells you that the rear brake system is coming on before the front one. Because if the front brakes come on before the rear ones, you go into an uncontrolled spin and you can't stop it until the kinetic energy is at zero. So, that's one of the reasons the back brakes come out of the front. There you go. So anyway, this master cylinder is working quite well. Now, oftentimes we'll redo these master cylinders and we'll send them off to people and they'll start weeping out of the back. It's because they have contaminated brake fluid and all kinds of particles in there. And I want to show you guys something. We're looking down here at original master cylinder. We'll use this Hemi. Let me tell you about master cylinder kits and links and about critical dimensions. I'm going to show you how a master cylinder works. You see these two holes in this front? There you go. Intake and return, that's how the master cylinder equalizes. So, when you push down and these pistons go forward and compress, they're compressing the fluid, and then some fluid out of here has to come in here and replace it so you don't have a suction effect and so you can move the pistons. Now, how does a master cylinder work? You see right there between those two holes? The front lip of the pumping cup sits right there between those two holes. The front lip sits right there between those two holes. And on some master cylinders, you'll notice that the damn holes are really close together. you ain't got a bunch of leeway. So, you with me? So, if this is pushing too far forward, if this spring is weak, wore out, your dimensions are all wrong. Rear piston, main one, big one, disc brake chamber, moves the most amount of fluid. This lip, pumping cup, you can tell pumping cups because they have divots in them. These are generally called wipers. Couple of wipers, pumping cup, gets you the pressure. This sits right there in between them. So now you can understand. So, there is no pressure, but when the piston comes forward and closes that off, now we're building the pressure. So that's all fine and dandy. All a master cylinder is really a pump. A manual pump, or if you got power brakes, a little bit of power assist. So, a master cylinder has to be able to move fluid, and it's got to be able to maintain pressure. And, of course, master cylinder is one of the main places where you get blow-by. You get blow-by past the cups because they're wore out, or the bore's wore out, and so you can't build up any pressure. The other thing you got to remember is, in order for the master cylinder to release the brakes completely, the pistons must come all the way back to rest. This port must be opened back up, so the cup's got to come all the way back to rest. If it drags, or it doesn't come all the way back because you put .5 fluid in there, or because the brake fluid's contaminated, or because the piston ports are plugged up, these factory master cylinders won't release, and so you run into problems. And brake fluid's real important. I'm going to show you guys something on these original pistons. When we've all seen dirty brake fluid, it gets so damn contaminated that it looks like muddy water. You got all kinds of flakes in there and all kinds of shit, especially on these old muscle cars. That's why you need to flush that thing with alcohol, denatured alcohol. Let me show you something. This is a one-way valve. I want you to see the size of those holes in that piston. We clean them out and make sure that they're cleaned out. You know what we use? Bread tie wire. If these get plugged up with debris, she has a hard time compensating and coming back to rest because the fluid flow won't come back. Now, what do I mean by a one-way valve? So, we'll leave the spring off. If you're building up pressure, the pressure is pushing all this back against the piston, closing up the holes, building us up pressure. On the return stroke, as this stuff is coming backwards, there's fluid behind here. The fluid's got to get back into the master cylinder. There's only two ways. It comes in because it's going backwards and comes around the cup and helps out, or when this is going back to rest, this stuff comes forward, fluid goes in and equalizes. So, friends, about that clean brake fluid, it don't take much to stop them sumbitches up, and then she don't work right. And they're on the front piston, and they're on the big piston. You see those holes? Yeah. Equalizers. Return ports in the pistons. Yeah. More of that damn thing than you ever thought, isn't there? Now you know why There's umpteen ways they ain't working right. God bless you. God bless America. And happy Moparing.